On this segment of Keeping It Rich with Sakina, I'll introduce you to someone who proves that wealth and luxury can go hand in hand. And no, she's not an athlete or a performer. She's a smart career woman who earns the money she needs to maintain the lifestyle she enjoys. Let's find out how she does it. Welcome to this edition of Keeping It Rich with Sakina on NorthstarNews.com. I am your host, Sakina Sproul. And today we're at the lovely home of Jocelyn Taylor, the publisher of Uptown Magazine. Thank you so much, Jocelyn, for having us here today.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Well, the house is lovely, as I expected it to be. You've done a great job with it, of course.
Thank you.
Now, when I tell viewers that Jocelyn Taylor's here, she's the publisher of Uptown Magazine, they say, well, of course she lives well. She's the publisher of a magazine. But I know I've known you for over a decade. No matter what stage of your career, mid-career level, highest level career, you have always managed to afford to be fabulous and to live the lifestyle that you want.
Absolutely.
Tell us, how do you manage to do that?
I spend too much money. No, I'm just kidding. Well, what it is you just stated it. It's a state of mind. You know, so even if it was 20 years ago coming out of school, I had a goal for where I saw myself and the things that I wanted to acquire. And in doing so, it wasn't so much, I just want that, I want to be rich one day, it was realistic. So I saw myself and saying, in 5 years, this is where I'd like to be. In 10 years, I'd like to be here. And then I equated the skill set that I was going to be accomplishing to a level of income that would also come with that. And since I'm very independent and I don't look at saying, oh, one day when my prince will come, we'll get this together, it was really a realistic goal on the things that, you know, I had set forth and what I wanted to do.
Okay. And now some of those goals and some of those lifestyle things. I know at Uptown Magazine, your subscribers are affluent African Americans. I've heard you refer to them as triple A's.
That's it.
Yes, the triple A's, which you are one of them, which makes it perfect because you know exactly what they want, where they're going. So can you tell me and the viewers, because we all want to know, where are triple A's going? Where are they vacationing? What are they driving? Where are they shopping?
Well, you know, it's a great terminology that actually my partner, Lynn Burnett, actually came up with, which I love. It's because really it's not an anomaly. This affluent African-American audience that, as you mentioned, that I have segued into, that the magazine definitely identifies our demographics and the psychographics of that demographic. It's an audience that's been around since really W.E.B. Du Bois. It's just that we have not had vehicles to collectively show what we are doing. And unfortunately, as time has transpired, the only time that we're really celebrated as being affluent is when it's been in the guise of entertainment. And it's not to take away from that because those are wonderful careers, but we know that's 0.5% of just even general market. Everyone cannot be a basketball player, a football player, you know, a singer.
Exactly.
And so with that being said, education is really the key. And in keeping that in mind, in a magazine like Uptown Magazine, you say, where are we? We put this together collectively every other month, we're bi-monthly, identifying what we call tastemakers. And that's really what we all are. You're a tastemaker. Those are people who have a propensity for the finer things in life. But it's based on, first of all, knowing, getting a good education, being culturally aware. And that once that's innate within you, you look and seek to be around those people and things that identify who you see yourself as being. Okay, now who are these people, these tastemakers? Are they our judges, our lawyers? What type of careers are they in? It can be anything. Well, anyone, a tastemaker is someone who sets a trend. It's someone who, and again, if you're looking at profession, yes, it can be your doctor, or I like to say your lawyer or Indian chief. It can be someone who's an executive chef. You know, a wonderful executive chef that no one knows is the person who's running Saks Fifth Avenue's, you know, culinary department. It's things of that nature. It's those people that are under the radar, but who are important and urgent in their respective communities and in their fields. But it's just that they're not celebrated the same way. So a tastemaker is someone, again, last year I went to Europe for 3 weeks with friends. And out of those group of friends, one is a banker. Another girlfriend of mine, she is a managing director at an investigative firm. She's an attorney, and she also part-time is on CNN. Her husband's an orthopedic surgein. Another girlfriend's an RN. Her husband's an attorney. But we took all our kids with us, and it was really about really exposing them to lifestyle and culture that was outside of just saying you don't have to go to the Caribbean. Why not stretch your imagination and go to the Amalfi Coast or go to Pompeii?
Okay.
Or, go to Santorini in Greece.
Okay.
And,
and have you been to all these places
Absolutely.
already? Absolutely.
We went last year, and it was fabulous. And it was my first time going, so, I have been to Paris a few times. I had been to Europe. It wasn't my first time in Europe. But it was a great experience for us to bring for our children.
Okay.
And that's really where it starts. If you believe that anything is possible, it shouldn't be such a faraway dream. Oh, one day.
Now, what are some of the goals that you've set and you've actually achieved? I mean, this house is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh,
I mean,
thank you.
the furnishings, the chairs, the fireplace. I mean, I'm just loving sitting here setting up, listening to the Brazilian music in the background. I mean, I'm just like, okay, Jocelyn, this is going to be the new set for Keeping It Rich. Like, we just want to keep this set. So, I mean, how do you actually go about achieving some of these things? I mean, well, before you tell me how you go about it, tell me some of the things that you set out to get. Like, was there some major piece of furniture that you said, I want this?
A fireplace to me is always a focal point.
Okay.
In any house. I had the fireplace, unfortunately, speaking of fire, about 2 years ago, and this is the third incarnation where we are now, I had a fire here. And actually, everything that you see here, from my family room to the living room, the dining room, and then all throughout the house.
Okay.
But these 3 particular rooms were completely gutted out because of the fire. So
now
I had to start from scratch. And so this was, when I started from scratch, believe it or not, I started with the piano.
Okay.
That was the impetus. That was the passion, because I always wanted to get a piano. And to my point earlier, when I said, oh, one day when I move to another house, or one day when I get a bigger living room. And then I said, one day is now.
Exactly.
What if since I have to start from scratch, and I know I'm not going to move right this second, so why don't I go ahead, get the baby grand, and then that be the part of the focal point, and then build the furniture around it.
Okay, now tell me this. When we talk about this whole show, we have to talk about the money aspect of it. Now, I know, of course, there was some insurance, but you started from scratch and you purchased everything.
Ooh, okay.
About how much money would you spend on furniture? I mean, on a room of furniture, what would you spend? The baby grand, for instance.
Well, let me just tell you, I am, and this is my quote, which I love, I don't live in this lifetime to be like an ancient Egyptian, where I'm collecting things for the afterlife. Okay. I'm living for now. So with that in mind, if I have, which I do, a portfolio set up with my 401k, my 529 for my daughter, long and short-term disabilities, life insurance, and that comes automatically out of my paycheck. Okay. Everything else is up for grabs.
Okay.
So I'm about carpe diem, living it and enjoying it. And I don't like to buy anything cheap, but I'm a smart consumer, so I'm not going to say if it's $5,000, it's necessarily better.
Okay.
But if it means that I want a beautiful silk chase and it costs X amount of dollars, and it's a difference between another one that's in linen, but it just doesn't have the same quality.
Right.
I'll spend the extra money.
Okay.
Because I want to make the investment.
Okay.
As Coco Chanel would say, when you buy a suit, it's an investment. It's not, and that's how I think about it. When I buy my clothes, my shoes.
Right, and I love your shoes. I love the shoes that you're wearing today.
Thank you.
Now, what is the most, say, that you've paid on a pair of shoes? And who is the designer of these that
I should be embarrassed, but you know what? I did preface that I do save my money. So
yes,
the most that I have paid for a pair of shoes is $900.
Okay, and
I just did that recently. I cannot believe I did this, and I'm very impulsive, but I never go back once I make up my mind about something. I walked into Barney's last week, and I'm going to an event this upcoming weekend, a masquerade ball in D.C., and I was like, I need a pair of really funky silver shoes. And I was just going to look quickly, and I walked in there like, ma'am, Barney's is closing in 10 minutes.
Okay.
And I was like, that's okay. I'm quick. And if that was 10 minutes to 8, at 8:05, I had magically spent $1,600.
Okay.
On 2 pairs of shoes. I was like, okay. And as I did that, I was like, you can ship it to Jersey, right? At least I can save on the tax. And then as I was walking out, as I was getting on the elevator, I'm like, what did I just do? And I was like, eh.
Exactly, because you can afford it. Because like you said in the beginning, and I definitely heard it, and all the viewers need to hear this part, you automatically put all the money in for your retirement accounts, your child's 529 plan, and your long-term and short-term disability insurance, as well as, of course, homeowners insurance.
Absolutely.
And so you do that first, and then everything that's left is discretionary. So what I want to know from you is, how do you manage to have so much discretionary income? Does home ownership play into your wealth plan?
I have about 2,000 square feet of living space for myself. But as you know, because you came here to visit me, this is actually a 2-family home. And then I converted it to a 3-family, actually, so the attic. So being just, I would say, a savvy, smart businesswoman,
I would agree.
The income that I collect from the second floor and third floor tenants actually pays the mortgage.
Okay.
Phenomenal. So with that being said, I did something else very smart because I had no other choice. After I had the fire, unfortunately, I found out that I didn't have the right insurance. And that's something very important that people really need to check and make sure you read between the lines, ask all the questions. So unfortunately, I had no content insurance unbeknownst to me.
Okay.
And so I had to end up coming out of pocket. So the additional liquid savings that I had at the time, I had to pour it into, and I could have said, well, do I have to have a coffered ceiling? Do I have to put marble on my fireplace? Do I have to have a certain wood floor? Yep, I do. Because it's what I need. It makes me feel good because it's where I live and this is my space. And it's part of the whole yin and yang.
Exactly.
So I said, you know what? It's still mine. And I'm going to invest in, and when I move from this unit, what I can sell it for, I've done the bathroom over in granite. I've done, the little things that I've done is going to make the difference.
Okay.
And so by doing that, I consolidated any debt that I had collected because I definitely brought upon myself more debt, having to pay off things and then having to use that money for content.
Okay.
And when you say content, it's just not even furniture. It's if something happened to your clothes and they got burned, you're not getting reimbursed for any of that. So I was able to take those X amount of dollars with the existing loan that I had, which was at that point I had really brought it down quite significantly. But I combined that with the debt, and I had a line of credit. Combined that together, and with that now I just have one payment. But it's almost nominal because, like I said, I get a significant more than 3/4 of the amount of that payment comes from my tenants.
Right, exactly.
So it's actually a win-win.
So
my
while
cars
some people
are paid for, I paid cash for the second car that I have. The other one had been paid for, a while ago. Even though I'm really ready to get a Maserati or a Bentley. That's what I really would love.
Exactly. You've been test driving a couple of those, so
yes,
you're ready.
Actually, I had the experience of going to Florence, Italy with Bentley last year to test drive at that time the launch of to their newest fleet. It was the Bentley Brooklyns.
The really great thing about you, Jocelyn, and why I'm so glad that you were, available to be a subject today and a guest today, is because you actually manage your money.
Oh,
I mean, you have tenants who are offsetting the mortgage payment. So
Absolutely.
while some of us have to spend $3,000-4,000 a month in, mortgage, you don't have to do that. So you have extra $3,000-4,000 in discretionary income. So if you spend $1,600 at Barney's, it's kind of like, the mortgage is paid for. I have a house. I have an investment.
Well, the responsibility
the cars are paid for.
is definitely in place. And I also, in addition to that, I even have another life insurance plan set in the untimely event of my death, meaning just before I get 150, that the house will automatically be paid for. But what's nice is the whole plan is rolled up with all the debt as well. Because
great. So everything's taken care of.
It's all rolled up because what I did was, like I said, I put the existing debt, combined it with the existing loan on the home, and together that became one mortgage payment to a financial institution. So now when I pay them, it's paying for everything. I'm hoping that I don't have to, they don't have to take me up on the insurance.
Yeah, they won't.
I hope
they won't.
No time. So I hope I can I'll pay the house off before then. I promise I'll pay.
Exactly.
But at least it's peace of mind that there's no, and then I have a living will. So like I said, I just put everything together so that right now, as a single parent and raising my daughter who's 12 years old, you have to be smart and you have to be proactive.
Exactly.
And you have to be strategic.
And you are.
But most importantly, because I'm about living for now, if you want to do that, then your plan can't just be haphazard. You have to put a real strategic plan in place, and then you can make it seem effortless.
Exactly. And you make it seem effortless.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn.
Thank
it was
you.
Great coming here today.
I appreciate it.
That has been our segment for Keeping It Rich with Sakina. I'm your host, Sakina Sproul, on NorthstarNews.com.